Hey, ladies and gentlemen, the Tedster here. I am going over the Blade Fury Assassin first 6 hours. I wanted to explain to everybody what you could and could not do and how to basically build this character from the ground up, from scratch, all the way up to this point, and what I would do in the future, assuming it is Friday and we are figuring this all out all on our own, right? So, you've probably heard a lot of people say, fortitude and uh, and trap skillers and different stuff like that. And while trap skillers might be not such a bad idea, I actually think that that there's a couple different ways to do it. Maybe even a little bit better. But let's start at the beginning, right? So level one to level five, my recommendation would be to start with 5 points in Claw and Dagger Mastery. Do auto attacks all the way up to level 6. Once you get to level 6, put a point into Burst of Speed, and with your extra point, put it into Blade Sentinel. Start with Blade Sentinel. You should, if you're solo self found, you should basically be out of Act 1 within 20-25 minutes at the very most. Blade Sentinel carries insanely well. While you're doing that, look for a gemmed wrist blade or any weapon that has 2 sockets, and then go ahead and put 2 chip gems into it. With the gemmed wrist blade and with basically nothing else, I was doing something like 27 to 40 something damage and just melting everything and melted Andario like she was nothing. Once you shift into Act 2, you proceed like normal, get your skill points, do everything that you need to do. Really simple stuff. Nothing really changes until you get to level 21 or above, where you're looking to make the Runeword pattern. Pattern is absurdly good in this particular build. It adds fire, lightning, and poison damage, and it adds enhanced damage and everything else for that matter. This is in a QOB, so this QOB is an exceptional base. I found this exceptional base at the end of Act 5 in normal, which it can drop there. But you can also get it anytime in Nightmare as well. But you want to find an exceptional base and put pattern into it and equip it. It is just absurdly good. You only need one weapon, and you use Ancient's Pledge. As soon as you get into Act 5, you make an Ancient's Pledge with a Kite Shield. So just be on the lookout for a Kite Shield, either an empty one or a 3-socket one. I found a 3-socket one, didn't have to socket it. Once you have a pattern and a QOB, you have something like 70% all res, which is insane. You make a stealth along the way, and I found this later. I didn't even have this equipped at first. I had some helmet on instead that was just nothing. It's not even here anymore. But yeah, I crafted this amulet later on, but I was using a junk amulet in the meantime. I was using this, a 10% MF amulet. And then I had crafted this, which isn't even really good at all with the build in any way, shape, or capacity. Yeah. And then I got this from the Gidbin quest in normal. It's great. Faster run walk, half freeze duration. And then I kept these gloves. I didn't craft them. They also have half freeze duration. So I had Cannot Be Frozen. This is a Saurus's Iron Stay belt. You can basically use any belt whatsoever that offers you resistances in life. And I found these chain boots just perfectly fine. They have faster run walk. With all the faster run walk, this offers 10%. This offers 10%. And then with my skill, that's another 20%. So we're at 40% faster run walk, which is really good. Throughout the whole run, just 40% faster run walk. Just really strong. So, yeah. As far as charms, we kind of treat our charms like a vengeance pally to start. So we put as much elemental damage as possible. Like this is elemental damage. This is elemental damage. This is elemental damage. What we would do in the future is we would get max damage charms. We would get max damage attack rating charms, and that's one of the big tough things about this build to kind of like make you be aware of as well. This is by all stretches of the imagination an attack rating build. You need to have your attack rating comparable to the monsters you're facing. So if like if you're level 40 and you're trying to fight Bale in Nightmare, you're not going to hit him because there's a 25 level difference between you and him. And that's such a significant difference in how normal trap builds go. Both traps, both Blade Sentinel and Blade Fury, use attack rating. So keep that in mind as you do this. If you decide to do this solo, that you don't kind of you stick to the rivers and the streams like you're used to. You know what I mean? Like, don't go chasing waterfalls. Like, don't go too far off the beaten path before you've leveled up enough to handle it. During my 6-hour stream and 6-hour video, I proceed to make sure that my attack rating is typically around 85-90% at all times. The mercenary that I would recommend to you is the Act 2 mercenary. The Act 2 mercenary that I have has blessed aim.
Come back this way, have you?
And it's so huge. It's such a gigantic difference as far as damage is concerned. I think without blessed aim, I would be in a lot worse shape as far as accuracy at the beginning of the game. Of course, you could typically just get Angelic Ammi and Angelic Ring and make that up, and maybe then you get an Act 4 mercenary that does amplify damage, or maybe you get an Act 5 mercenary that has Might Aura. I'm not sure if that really works too well, but ultimately I wanted a mercenary that would stand in front of the enemies while I shot them, while also kind of being kind of the end all be all to help me with my accuracy. And yeah, for the most part, Pratham did a damn good job. We went ahead and equipped him with Insight. We found this 4-socket Partisan. Nothing wrong with it. We found this Scale Mail, which had mostly all res. It's like 8% all res, cold res, fire res, faster hit recovery. When we found 3 pieces of Saigons. I didn't even put boots on them. I think I forgot. I could probably put boots on them now. Hold on, broski. Let me get you some boots. This. Pretty good boots.
Not here.
There you go. I'm not a noob. I put boots on him. Okay. Cool. So yeah, he does a lot of damage. And really, we don't care as much about the damage. We just care about him standing in front of the enemies, so we're not getting absolutely eviscerated by everything that's going on. So, what would I do differently? What would I do the same? And how would I proceed? So, we got really lucky. We got a Spine Ripper. But ultimately, our game plan is not a Spine Ripper. The game plan to proceed and go further beyond, Goku says, further beyond, right? What would we do to go further beyond? So something very easy, actually. And I don't know how many people are really thinking about it. I don't know how many people are really going to do it, but my personal plan is a Claw Runeword. That's really, really strong. I'm looking it up. That's why I'm looking over here. It's called Lawbringer. Lawbringer does so much. It's absurd. Because of the Decrepify change. That's the main reason why. So, Lawbringer is an Am rune, AMN, Lem rune, LEM, and a Ko rune, KO. Before I leave Nightmare difficulty, I would have a Lawbringer on an elite base or a Lawbringer on an exceptional base. And yeah, it has 150 to 200% enhanced damage, which is pretty much like every exceptional and elite based claw unique. So you're basically making it a unique strong weapon. Then you have a 20% chance to cast Decrepifying Striking. Newsflash, the Decrepify change makes it so that is making all of your enemies have negative 15% to their physical resistances. So you're going to do a 15% more damage with all your physical damage. You do a lot of physical damage. Then, minus 50% target defense. So if it didn't get any better, now all your accuracy problems are now solved with a Lawbringer to give your enemies minus target defense. Because that was the big issue. You're having accuracy problems. Now you're fixing them. Then you add fire and cold damage. And we're not talking like a small amount. You're adding 150 to 210 fire damage and 130 to 180 cold damage. That's a lot at 6 frames a second. And if you put 1 point into Venom, you're also adding 100 poison damage. Yeah. You've literally made yourself an IK Maul at 6 frames a second. Yeah. Lifesteal per hit doesn't work. So that's fake news. Slay monsters, rest in peace. Very useful. More useful than you think it is. Plus defense versus missile, that's fine. Plus 10 to dex, that's fine. Extra gold for monsters, that's fine. What would I do with this Lawbringer? I would pair it with Ancient's Pledge. But realistically speaking, I would not want to do that forever. What I would do is I would reset, and then I would take my I would get another claw. And the claw that I would get would likely be Jade Talon. And I would put Jade Talon in my secondary. What does that do for me? Well, Jade Talon has a bunch of enhanced damage, which is really good, but doesn't really apply in this situation. What we care more about is the fact that it adds to Shadow Disciplines, that means that we're going to have more accuracy. Our Shadow Disciplines is a Claw and Dagger Mastery, Burst of Speed, and Venom, and potentially Weapon Block. And the whole point of it is that we are going to basically put into Weapon Block so that our Jade Talon gives us all res and Weapon Block. So in the best case scenario, Jade Talon gives us 50 all res and Weapon Block, and that's sick. Our alternative, which is a good alternative, assuming we don't care about Magic Find, would be to do Natalia's set. Because it's good. You just put Natalia's Claw in the secondary, and you leave your weapon in the main. So you would leave your Lawbringer in right here. And you would get everything. You just get a ton of stuff. It would just be insane, right? Like, yeah. Like, what would you get for doing that, right? So the helmet would give you all res. You'd have magic taken reduced. You'd have sockets in Natalia's armor. You'd have 3 sockets, so you can put max damage ED jewels in there if you wanted to. You'd have, you'd basically be res capped. It would be insane. You can't do anything with the res that it gives you because it doesn't help you at all. But you'd have physical damage taken reduced by 20% on top of that. So you'd have, PDR of 20% automatically from doing that. So yeah, it's very silly. It's a very easy build to do. So. And it's hard to say whether or not Natalia's Mark is better than, in the grand scheme of things, than Lawbringer. Because Lawbringer solves a lot of your target defense problems, but Natalia's Mark, the weapon, just ignores target's defense. but it has the same ED, but it's a Scissor Sawaya, which has very high ED. So you just Lawbringer is just much cheaper to do. So Lawbringer, then Natset, then Prosper. But yeah, that's what I suggest to you guys. But anyway, I am streaming. Gonna be streaming this wonderful thing. Gonna be mainly helping trade for United Nations and streaming on twitch.tv/thetedster and doing this build and figuring this all out and going from there. So if you do want to watch that, if you want to see me in action, feel free to do so. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you ever wanted to do this as solo self-found, I highly recommend it. It is something that you can 100% do. But that's all I got. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you later. Keep playing. Keep having fun. I'll talk to you.